This is Diagnosing Data. My name is Martha, and usually I'm here together with Jay, but he couldn't join today. But that doesn't mean I'm alone on this session. I got some friends. Hello.
Hello.
Brian, Devang, welcome back. Because you've been in before. This is not your first time.
No, the first time is done. Now it's the second one. And
I
so
mean,
good to
we're
be back.
already on the
Thank
second
you.
time.
Yeah.
It's so great to have you back. We had so much fun last time that we had to do it again. And we didn't actually finish all the things we were talking about. There were way too much to talk about. But Brian, Devang, who are you guys? Devang, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am a principal program manager at Microsoft. The last time I spoke to you, I was in Seattle. Now I'm back in Paris. Paris is home for me. And I'm part of the Fabric Customer Advisory team. It's also called CAT team. And I focus all of my time on real-time intelligence because that's the coolest thing.
Coolest thing. Nice. So good to have you back. Brian, who are you?
Yeah, and just to follow up on Devang, real-time intelligence is indeed the coolest thing ever. I'm Brian. I'm from Denmark. I'm data platform MVP, and the last couple of years I've been diving into the world of Kusto. So that's why I'm here. Let's talk about Kusto.
Cool. And I see you also sharing a lot of great content, Brian, on LinkedIn on all these things that I'm still trying to learn. So yeah, that's a tip, I guess, for everyone to follow Brian on LinkedIn. And I see we have some friends joining us already. Hello, Sue.
Hello, Sue.
Hello, hello.
Once again.
And also, if there's any questions or people got any comments, they could just write it in the chat and we will answer as we go, right, guys?
Ready to go.
And I see some more people joining in. That's great. Okay, so what did we talk about last time? And should we give people a bit of a recap? Because this real-time intelligence thing, what was that? Or wasn't it real-time analytics?
We talked about the new things from Microsoft Build and what happened around the new naming conventions that we went from analytics to intelligence on real-time and why that happened. And then we did a short introduction or perhaps a run through of how could we actually begin to ingest data from our sources. How can we begin to get an oversight of what is happening in real-time events in our tenant with the real-time hub? And how could we, from the real-time hub, begin to ingest data from the Azure resources that we have access to, and also begin to manage the new event stream experience that has been upgraded from a version 1 to, let me say, version 2. It is not a public version 1 and 2, but just you have it now and an enhanced experience inside the event streams. And then we briefly touched upon how to store the data and how to go from there, just with a very, very short introduction to real-time dashboards. And I think that's where we will pick up today.
Indeed. And I think, Brian, we should also talk about, we talked about Fabric events. You can also have, in real-time hub, you also have access to Fabric events from which you can set up all kind of cool triggers. You can trigger a notebook, you can trigger a pipeline. And you also have access to Azure storage events. Again, if you have files or blobs dropping into Azure storage, and if you want to trigger some workflows in Fabric using that, you could do that as well. And that's what also we went through with Brian last time. So, Real-Time Hub is, I guess, where we spend most of our time. We went off script is what I remember. And we explored Real-Time Hub in quite some depth. So I think that's where we were. That's where we left off, and I think that's where we should start off from again.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and we actually left off with me and you and I working together on an event stream and splitting the data in two, and that was the bicycle data. And I think perhaps we could pick up from there, Devang. So when that data has now been stored in a KQL database, what can I do about it? How can I get onward with my analytics and my intelligence based on that data?
Yeah, let's go. So today I'm going to be the screen master, and Brian is going to ask me all kind of cool questions. So
while you begin to share your screen, then of course, we have cheated a bit and agreed on what Devang would show, but I will also try to get him on ice and see what happens. So
we ask all the difficult questions and
Exactly.
dig into the background stories.
yeah, exactly.
Why did this happen? Yeah. And
Martin,
see
do
if
you need to push buttons
can we
for
make
the
the
screen
demo
sharing to happen?
fail?
Yeah. Yeah. Martin, do you need to push a button for the screen sharing to happen, or?
Oh, no. So if you go to present, now it is here. Ta-da!
There you go.
And I'm guessing you can see the real-time hub?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Okay. All right, so that's where we are. Start from real-time hub, because that's where we believe everything in Fabric, anything to do with real-time intelligence will begin. So as Brian was talking about, we were talking about bike data. So here we are. We have Swiss bike data. So we are capturing a live bike stream from the country of Switzerland. And, this is typical bike sharing data that you find across many cities around the world. And here we have a core stream, which is a Swiss bike share stream. And then from there, we have some derived streams. We have split the stream into, for example, we are interested in Geneva's bike data, or we are interested in Bern's bike data. And we do not want to see every city's data. So if you want to split those streams, you could do that. So here we have different streams. Now, for example, if I just click on this, I will get some insight. So I can see that data is flowing through the stream continuously. I have some incoming messages and outgoing messages. And, sometimes it shows previews. Today, maybe not. But for example, as Brian was mentioning, this is my stream. This is my parent stream. I have some downstream destinations like a lake house or an event house or a KQL database. And this is where we are going to go into further in order to understand where does this data land into Fabric, and how can you analyze that data, visualize that data, and act upon that data. So this is, again, giving you a view of how does your streaming pipeline look like. So again, you could go back here, also look at data in terms of insights and how many messages and etc. are flowing. And hopefully this time it will load preview, but maybe not this time again. But let's continue. That happens all the time.
Already broke the demo. Well done. Mission accomplished.
The process there, yeah.
All right, so now let's go from here to what we call it as Event House. Well, Brian, maybe you want to tell the audience about Event House. What is Event House?
Yeah, sure. Event House is from my understanding, and I come from the SQL world. It is the umbrella that embraces one or more databases underneath it, and it also I tend to tell it as the server for your for your KQL databases, and it also brings a lot of new intel. We see right now in my tenant, at least, I see some gray area that are not yet released, but when the Event House is fully released with all the new features, the UI will be giving you, exactly that one. That is right now somewhat grayed out on my tenant. But then you will see the whereabouts of your databases, what is the consumers, what are the data stored there, and all kind of metrics. So that is awesome.
Mm.
Yeah,
and
indeed.
It also
so
enables the databases to talk to each other without further setup. So
indeed. So if we talk about Event House, it is built using a technology called as Custo. Custo has been developed at Microsoft about 10 years ago. We celebrated the 10th anniversary of the product in the month of March this year. And Custo has been available in Azure as what is called as Azure Data Explorer as a technology. But Custo is also under some of the products that a lot of our audiences might be using. Products like Log Analytics, products like App Insights, products like Azure Monitor. So if you have been using those applications or those services in Azure to monitor all your Azure applications, Azure data platforms, etc., then you must be writing KQL queries or Kusto query language, as it is called, in order to monitor all those applications and services. That's exactly the same technology which has also been included in Fabric under the name called as Event House, because Kusto or Event House is purpose-built and designed to handle this kind of streaming, high granularity event, time-based data, because that's what Event House is meant for. So this is the same Kusto technology available as Event House in Fabric. And Event House is basically a collection of one or more KQL databases. So here, as you can see, I have 2 databases. You can have more. The current limit is about 50,000. So you can have about up to 50,000 databases in a single Event House.
I would love to see that limitation being broken. So if you really need 15,000, then wow.
Indeed. So this is giving you a little bit of an overview page of what you have in your Event House. So how much data is there? So right now we are sitting on about 18 gigabytes of data, and you can have some metadata in terms of what's activity going on, who is querying, which database is being queried. You have some metadata in terms of endpoints and URIs. Where is it located? It's in West Central US. And I'm the only guy writing queries or running queries on this particular database. So this is what you can get. And once I go to the database.
Sorry, was that for one of the databases inside of your Event House, the overview that we see now?
This is the overview for the whole Event House, not for individual database. Now, if you want to go into individual database, and that's cool, Martha, thank you for my next cue. You can go to click on the database. So it will switch the context, and then you can see what's happening in your database. So again, you have the same metadata for your database. Again, top tables, most active users, my manager is also running some queries. What are the functions, etc. So what's happening? So again, you get a similar view of your database as well on this page. Now, if you want to go even further, if I click on the table, you get the table level view. So for example, this table has 111 million rows in a single table. So you get a database or table level views as well. And in table level view, you also start to understand the schema of your table. So, how many different columns and what are the different types, column types that you have in your table.
That's cool. So you get profiling just right there without having to connect to Purview or anything.
Indeed. You get all this information here. And having mentioned Purview also integrates with KQL database. You can also discover KQL databases in Purview. So it's not there. It's also there as well.
Cool. Okay, I need to test that.
Yeah. So okay, Devang, when we have our data in the KQL database, how easy is it to actually create an alert based on that data?
Yes.
Well, super easy. So let's go and try it out. So here I have my data. So Swiss bike availability data. So that's all my bike data from the country of Switzerland. Now here you have multiple options. So you can get data from other sources if you want to, but you can also query your table. So let's go query the table. Let's see some 100 records just to get an idea of what do I have in my table. So here I have a vehicle ID. So this is most likely my bike ID. I have a bike as a name as well. Is it an e-bike or a normal bike? I have some latitude, longitude information, which is interesting. So we can also kind of visualize it on a map to see what's happening. I have some station data. So what's the name of the station, address, whether the bike is active or station is active or not. In which city is it located? So Bern, Zurich, etc. So I have this is what I have in my table. So we can then start building some interesting KQL queries in order to explore this data and see what's going on. So this is a very simple explore your data view. But you can also, for example, save this as a query set. So let's say diagnosing. This is the demo effect. Normally I write well. Query set, I create it. And it will open a notebook-like experience. So this is your KQL query set, notebook-like experience. You have your table on the left. If you have more tables or more databases, you can choose all your databases here, and you can have multiple tables here. So this is where you can start exploring your data, write your cool, complex, interesting KQL queries, and start playing with the data. So whatever query I had written there, it's also now available here. I can, look at the data. So, but now you may say, hey, but I don't write KQL. I have not learned KQL. So what do I do? So here you have a little Copilot button.
What? Copilot for
Yes.
KQL. Wow.
Indeed. So as you know, we have infused Copilot everywhere in Fabric, whether you're in Power BI, whether you're in the notebook experience in data engineering or data warehouse, there's a Copilot everywhere. So here also we have a Copilot. Now, this Copilot is basically you can ask a natural language question, and it's going to generate a corresponding KQL query for you. So let's try something interesting. So, show me the average capacity in the city of...
While you're writing, Devang, maybe you can think this through. Do we have Copilot available in other languages? Can I write Danish to it, or can Martin write Norwegian to it?
That's actually a great question. So I think there is some multi-language support. Whether it's going to be super accurate or not, I don't know. But I can tell you, some of my French colleagues wrote some French questions in the Copilot, and it turned out it came back with an accurate KQL query. So
nice.
I would say yes, but have we tried each and every language? I would say no. So Martha, I think we're going to have you write some Norwegian to this
The
KQL
biggest language
Copilot
ever. So I mean, I'm expecting a lot.
Yes. So let's continue with our prompt. So I want to look at the average capacity in the city of Bønk in the last 3 days at 15-minute intervals, because just to understand what's happening through the day. And we can say, and put it as a time chart, because we would like to visualize it. What's the point of just looking at the table? And let's also make something interesting. And the station name. Stations include or station names having west in their name. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a string search. Let's look for stations which have west in their name, and it will calculate the average capacity. Now let's see. Hope and pray. Cross your fingers. So here we have a KQL query. You can insert it. We have not executed the query by itself because we don't know if the query is always accurate, because Copilot is meant to give you a prompt, give you a suggestion, give you a recommendation, and then you can go and decide if this query makes sense and if this is what you want to execute. So for example, if we now run this particular query, let's see if it returns some data. Well, it does. So here you can see I have 3 stations, Hallstrasse, Unitobler, and Insel West, which are basically having some bikes. So now, unfortunately, people in this station are not really using the bikes, because over the last 3 days, its average is 10. So, no bikes are being taken or no bikes are being returned. So very low usage on this particular station. But this is how you can simply write your KQL, asking a natural language question, render it as a time chart, and at least start exploring your data.
So if you actually change this to perhaps just 30 days ago, and then see what happens.
If I do 30 days, and sorry, what should I change to?
Just that, and then see what happens.
Oh, see what happens. I'm not sure if we have 30 days worth of data. But yeah, okay. I think from 16 May, is the last data point that we have.
Yeah.
Because I started building this demo sometime around mid-May. So this looks accurate. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this
Great.
is
So, okay,
basically.
now...
Go ahead.
Okay, sure. Thanks. So now with the help of Copilot, I can get a KQL statement created, and I can edit that and make it suit my needs, and I can have it visualized. And then, okay, now I have what I need. Then how do I put this in a dashboard? Do I need to copy it and then create a dashboard and then create a pin and then do stuff, or?
No, you use a keyword. It's called pin to dashboard. So we're going to use pin to dashboard. Just have to hover over your query. You don't even have to select it, nothing. You see a little bit of a highlight of the query. Just keep your cursor there. Click on pin to dashboard. It will choose. It will give you an option. You can choose an existing dashboard. So for example, I have an existing dashboard which I have created. So I can simply choose that. Click on add. That's the name of the dashboard, and then I can say diagnosing. Come on, data demo.
Before you hit create, could I select more dashboards there?
No, you can only select one dashboard at a time. You cannot put one tile into multiple dashboards at the same time. You can only select one dashboard.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good call out. No, only one dashboard.
Okay, great.
So you just give a name to the tile, and we want to see the dashboard after it is created. So let's go and create it. And it will open the dashboard for you. So now this is my existing dashboard, as you can see, and the tile that we created, diagnosing data demo tile, shows up as another tile on my dashboard.
Oh, nice.
So this is what you can do. Now, as I said, I already was preparing a dashboard, trying to run a little demo. So here, as you can see, this is what we call it as real-time dashboards in Fabric. This was also introduced at Build as part of real-time intelligence. This is basically designed to allow you to visualize millions of data points, millions of time series data points that come from all kind of event data that you will bring into real-time intelligence. So again, folks who are familiar with Azure Data Explorer, the service in Azure, it also has its own dashboarding capability. It's called ADX dashboards or Azure Data Explorer dashboards. It's the same dashboard capability which has been built into Fabric as well. So if you are using dashboards in Azure, and if you want to bring them into Fabric, you can very seamlessly bring them into Fabric without having to break any of your dashboards or change your code. So this is basically giving you parity between what you were doing in Azure and if you want to do the same thing in Fabric.
Okay,
so now we have a question from Fernando.
Yes, exactly.
Asking about the what's the differences between a dashboard and a Power BI report? How does these compare? But then I guess a dashboard is just pulling in tiles from different places. It could be different sources, different data, semantic models or underlying data. But a report, then you're actually having this data model connection directly to this one report, and then you can have multiple visualizations on top of that specific source, right? Or is there something weird or special with the dashboards in real-time intelligence?
I wouldn't call it weird, but special, yes.
Special.
So I think number one call out is real-time dashboards only work with the data which is there in your event house. However, Power BI report, you can connect Power BI report to a lake house. You can connect Power BI report to an event house. You can connect Power BI report to your data warehouse. You can build your direct lake semantic model on it. So Power BI in Fabric is over encompassing, right? It covers all the different data stores that you have in Fabric. So that's Power BI reports. In I don't have to explain what you can do with Power BI because a lot of the audience might know what you can do with Power BI. Real-time dashboards were introduced in Fabric just to handle that one use case or requirement, which is basically being able to visualize millions of data points or time series data in a very smooth manner, closer to the data source, which is event house in this case. So this is what you can do. For example, real-time dashboards does not connect to a lakehouse, does not connect to a data warehouse. It does not connect to any other data source in Fabric. It is really designed to be close to event house, because that's the event data or the high granularity time-based data that we want to be able to visualize. And the other thing is, for example, you may have noticed this dashboard is continuously refreshing. So here, for example, if I click on editing, I have set up a refresh rate of 1 minute. So every minute, my dashboard is refreshing. So if you want to have that smooth experience of continuously refreshing data based on all the events that might be happening in environment, then real-time dashboard is the way to go. But if you want to build a more comprehensive report or do your business intelligence type of analysis, then Power BI is the single stop in Fabric. There's no doubt about that. And it's also true because I can go back and show it to you, which we will do. If you go back to your event house and click on a KQL database, and if I go back to my query set, guess what? There is a button to build Power BI report here as well. So you can simply build your Power BI report from here as well. So it's not that Power BI is excluded. You can simply click on this little button, build Power BI report. It will create a Power Query. All right. To refresh, it will create a Power Query in direct query mode to this particular event house table. So now let's click again. Hopefully it works this time. While it is loading. So basically, this particular visual, as you can see, the entire table is available in your Power Query view. So you can start building simple line chart. I can put a timestamp on X. I can put capacity is here on Y. And here you go. So you can also build a Power BI report directly on this particular data if you wish to. But as I said, if you want to do those real-time type of data visuals, etc., real-time dashboards would be the way to go. And second, if you want to have parity between what you were doing with Data Explorer in Azure, and if you want to do the same with Fabric, then real-time dashboards gives you that parity as well. But for everything else, you have Power BI, which becomes your single visualization option or layer in Fabric.
So this is for your analytical needs, having reports in production. Yeah.
Okay. Now, in the interest of time,
we're running out of time again. It's just
so much to tell.
Yeah, but also because the real-time alerts, I feel like you were sort of going to that point, but then we stopped you.
Yeah.
Where do you set up the alerts here?
Indeed. So here you are on the real-time dashboard. You can simply click on Set Alert here, and it will detect all the different tiles that you have in your dashboard and ask you, saying, okay, which particular measure or which particular tile you want to use in order to build your alert. So one option is you can choose from here. So if I want to go with total bike availability or total slot availability, I can go from here. If not, every tile also gives you the option of creating alerts. So based on whatever is the use case, you can choose one of the tiles and then click on Set Alert. Set Alert, yes. And then, as you can see here, I can define similar conditions. So people who may remember when Brian was doing demos last time with Real-Time Hub, where you wanted to set up alerts on streaming data or Fabric events or Azure Storage events, it opens the similar pane on the right. So it's a very similar pane, very similar experience. Here as well, you can choose, so each event when count is greater than 900, for example. Send me a Teams message, so message me in Teams, and then save this as a reflex item. So I can say, I can choose, create a new reflex item, and I'll just create the name, my reflex one, and it will create that particular reflex item. So now, as and how my count, which is basically my total bike count, exceeds 900, I will get a message, or I will get a Teams message. So this is the kind of alert you can set up using real-time dashboards natively as an integrated experience.
Wow.
And
Nice.
this is data activator from before, right? But now it's moved here.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So this is, I think, this is the change we wanted to make. Is previously you had your event stream, you had your event house, then you created your quick queries, then you had to dashboard, then you had to go to data activator, create a reflex item, and then connect everything together. So this is what we wanted to make as a step change as part of real-time intelligence, is make everything integrated. So you can just naturally flow from, okay, now I have my event streams in real-time hub, then I want to go to my event house, explore my data, build some cool queries, understand what's happening with my data, visualize my data using dashboard, and then, okay, now that I have it, I'm not going to keep coming back to this dashboard to see what's happening, right? Let me set up an alert, so in case something goes wrong, I'll simply receive a message in Teams, and then I can go back and check my Teams message and come back to the dashboard in case I need to do a deeper exploration. So this is really the purpose of setting it up like this, offering an integrated experience rather than having this disjointed services that you had to create, deploy, and connect with each other.
Cool.
Great. Devang, on the former data activator service before it was ingested into real-time intelligence, we also got the option to start another process like Power Automate or something. I did not see that on the option in the radio buttons there. Do I have the possibility to go back into my data activator item and then do that, or?
You do. So that's a great call out. I created my reflex item. It most likely went into reflex 1. This is the one we created. If I go back to my reflex item, which is going to open up the data activator canvas. So here, as you can see, it opens up the complete canvas of the alert that we have set up. So here it can see it has a KQL as a data source. And here you have the option of setting up custom actions. So where you can see create custom actions, you can then connect it to your Power Automate flow.
Great.
And then from here, for example, if you want to create tickets in some kind of a ticketing system, or if you want to build more complex integration, then you can do it from a Power Automate flow. So in a quick create scenario, we only give the option of sending a Teams message or an email. But if you want to do something more advanced, you can come back to the canvas, open up your reflex item, and then start building your custom actions and create those integrations with Power Automate.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I saw a question from that Fernando about the distribution of dashboards. Let me read it out loud. Yeah, there you go. So how do we distribute dashboards inside our organization? We have the Power BI within the organization, and we know that. But what about the dashboarding? Is that more or less the same way, or do we have security on dashboards, or is it just when you have access to the workspace, you have access to the dashboard, or how do we do that?
Right. So right now, when you have access to the workspace, you have access to the dashboard. So for example, if I go back to my workspace, this is where my dashboard is, real-time dashboard. So if I give access to Brian to this workspace, Brian will be able to see this particular dashboard as well. If you want to control visibility, you can control visibility as well. But I think visibility is much more data-driven rather than the dashboard-driven. So if you don't want a certain user to be able to visualize the data, you can manage the permissions at event house level, because at event house also you control who can see your data, who cannot see your data. You can apply, for example, row level security in the event house. And based on those rules that you have defined in event house in terms of who can or who cannot see the data, and 2, if you've applied some row level security rules, then based on that, the dashboard, whoever is opening the dashboard, they will only see what they are allowed to see. So this is how you control your access to your data as part of Fabric. But in terms of distribution, again, it's not designed to be Power BI like. It is still, it is just a very lightweight, simple dashboard for quick creation or quick visualization of your real-time event data, but not as comprehensive and as advanced as Power BI.
Okay, great. So when we're talking about Power BI and real-time dashboards and all that stuff, without breaking any NDAs you have, Devang, do we see a future in one service, or will it be two services, or what's the perspective there?
Well, I think ever since we have announced real-time dashboards, we have heard a lot of feedback where a lot of people from the community are asking questions. Why do we have two visualization options in Fabric, real-time dashboard and Power BI? And I think we hear the feedback, we hear the drift of the feedback that everyone would prefer one single option. So Power BI is the option. So we are, and I think this is what you saw maybe last time. If you haven't, we'll be working closely with Jay's team in order to see how can we have one converging solution for even your real-time visualization needs in Fabric. But we're working on that. No commitments. We don't know when is that going to happen. But the intention and strategy is definitely to converge and not have diverging options.
Oh, great. Okay. Without saying too much. Thank you.
Yes.
That was interesting.
Exactly.
Making notes.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Great. One hack I have seen in Power BI, and I know you don't know this, Devang, but I've seen people doing iframes in Power BI. It would be awesome to embed a real-time dashboard inside Power BI, just as a
I think
mid-step. Yeah,
that sounds like a cool idea. Maybe Brian, you and I should maybe hack something like that out, and maybe then convince Martha to bring us back and say, "Hey, this is how you can hack a real-time dashboard into Power BI, and see this is how you can make it work as a single solution." So yeah, I haven't tried it personally.
We're ready for all the hacks.
I haven't tried it personally, but from the sounds of it, Brian, we should definitely give it a go.
Yeah.
Another cliffhanger. Wow, you guys, here's delivering, and then so many reasons to come back again.
Yes. Do we hear part 3? Yes, exactly, Fernando. Do we hear part 3 coming up?
Part 3. Oh yeah.
Yay. I think we have lots more to talk, and we can do a lot more with real-time intelligence. We only touched the surface. And if I'm allowed to give some, like teasers, Martha, shall we?
Please.
For example, we did not talk about geospatial analytics, right? Ooh. So imagine you have all this latitude, longitude information available. Here you can see a very simple visual where I'm just we are just visualizing what's happening in the city of Zurich, and how many bikes does each location have, right? But just to give you a little bit of a teaser, you could also, for example, trace how each bike has traveled through in a particular day, from which location to which location, how many different kilometers it covered, etc. You could do all that kind of cool analytics with real-time intelligence capabilities, because it has geospatial analytics built into the platform. So you could do that. You can also take your time-based data. So this is, every minute you are getting this availability data from all the stations in the country of Switzerland. You can take all that time data, and you can also combine that, some kind of a graph semantic. So imagine there is Switzerland is a country has X number of cities has Y number of stations, and each station has, Z number of bikes. That's some kind of a graph semantic. You can take all that graph semantic, combine it with time sensitive or time-based data, and then put some interesting geospatial. You can do so much more in terms of analytics and get some really, really useful and interesting insights from your data. So this is all possible to do with real-time intelligence. But this, I think, is a more advanced session where we will write some more complex KQLs, but you can do all this. It's possible. This is all built into the platform. We haven't even talked about, for example, anomaly detection. If you want to detect anomalies, for example, in a bike sharing scenario, if a particular station has some anomalous behavior, the number of bikes is always low, number of bikes are not being returned, etc. If you want to detect those anomalies, You can also do that with real-time intelligence capabilities. You can set up those anomaly detection alerts on your data, and as soon as an anomaly is detected, you will be informed, and then you can see what you want to do with that. Again, we have not touched upon that. So there are a lot of more advanced use cases that get unlocked with real-time intelligence, and we would love to come back to talk to tell our audience about all those cool advanced use cases.
Yeah, no, but this is really cool. Just listening to you now and the graph connection. I mean, you can do digital twin modeling with this tool now. Suddenly.
Yeah, sure.
Because now you can do everything,
Yes.
and that's mind blowing to me because I'm working a lot with the marine technology sector. That's cool because then suddenly I am allowed to work with that type of data because it's accessible to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
There's also very, very extremely powerful functionality to do tokenization on event strings, where perhaps you have a string of events happening within one string, and then just as an example, you might have IP addresses or hash values or something, and then you can actually get the KQL engine to tokenize those and just say this is an IP range or this is a hash value, and then you can begin to group string elements based on tokenization. It is so powerful.
Wow.
Yeah.
And also one thing, because I have a question, Devang, because you in the introduction you said so this is all based on the monitoring features of Azure, like that's where it started, and then so that means that you can use this. I mean, there's built-in monitoring hubs, but for an organization, you got more than just Fabric, because at least up until now, Fabric and Power BI has been analytical use cases. Now you're pulling in more things, but you will probably have other tools and solutions, a lot of sensors and so on. So you can now suddenly use this as your one monitoring solution that expands and monitors everything in your IT department, not only the analytical things. Yes. That's also really cool. So you're getting this ecosystem vibe that can do more than just the analytical things. Wow.
And you can actually begin to build solutions to report on adoption in the organization. Is the organization using Power BI? Is the organization using Excel or PowerPoint or whatever they're using? Whatever application are in Microsoft will trigger some events happening somewhere in an event storage, and then you can query that and begin to look at adoption.
That's cool. And I mean, no offense to the built-in monitoring things, but I mean, sometimes it's just not enough. You want more. A lot of the times, that's a hint, by the way, Devang, if you can do anything about that. But then you don't have to really, because you can create your own things here with whatever level of details and whatever input data that you want.
Yes.
Totally. Wow. And I don't know if you had the chance to follow the real-time intelligence session at Built. I think the videos are out on YouTube. But there was one of the customer or partner who talked about a use case that they have implemented with real-time intelligence, which is basically collecting logs from the entire Power BI deployment across their entire organization, and what they call it as a Fabric pulse. So they want to monitor the pulse of Fabric adoption in their organization. Who's using, how many workspaces are being created, who's deleting reports and items, etc., etc. So they want to kind of get in this lighthouse view of what's happening in their Power BI / now Fabric deployment across their organization. And this is what they are using. They're collecting all this event data, log data from all the Power BI capacities and everything that they have deployed, pushing it into real-time intelligence, visualizing that, but also setting up alerts so they now know that if something, if a workspace gets deleted or if a sensitive workspace gets deleted, they know when it happens before actually discovering 2 days later saying, hey, someone deleted something. So you could do that. And there was this testimonial was shared at the Build announcement. So we do see a lot of people asking us this question saying, hey, can I use this to monitor my Fabric environment? Can I use this to monitor not only my Fabric environment, but I have other data platforms, right? A lot of customers might have Databricks or some other tools that they use in order to fulfill their complete data analytics portfolio. So can I put all of this together in a single place so that I have understanding of what's happening with my data platform? Answer is yes. You can do that. It's totally possible to do that with real-time intelligence, and it has those capabilities to be able to make it much easier for you, rather than you having to piece together multiple different products and solutions to realize it.
It's so cool. That's really awesome. I think these use cases are really inspiring, and also, giving these new opportunities that we haven't seen before. And I'm definitely eager to start testing this and using it more, because now I'm just playing around with it, but then having these actual use cases, that's super motivating. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually think we are on time. We did great this time. Well done. We were able to come to some sort of conclusion. But there's more, as you already mentioned, Devang, there's more to talk about. So, I mean, should we be like the cheesy social media people that says, if you want a part 3, you need to tell us in the comment section, and we'll see what happens.
I'll be there. I have time.
Yes.
That's awesome.
We are so I would love to
awesome.
come back and share all the cool things that we are doing with real-time intelligence. And I completely enjoyed this. This is my second time, and I'm already falling in love with it. So I'm ready for the third one.
That's great, and you're owning it, Devang. This is great. I mean, yes, we're getting some action here. Yes, great session. I mean, maybe there will be a part 3. Let's see. Okay, but for now, I guess we could just say thank you, and then stay tuned for a really possible part 3 where we dig into the real complex things, right?
Yeah.
And see if we can break it, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Let's do that.
Always the goal. Thank you so much for joining, Devang and Brian. And
thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
See you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.